4 ways to protect this type project. Hi everyone, it's Sherry. I hope that you are having a wonderful day. Stay tuned. Welcome to my channel, friends. Thank you so much for being here today. I truly appreciate it. It's going to be one of those quick videos, but I think that you'll find this one very helpful. Whenever I make a journal, notebook, or folio, I get asked 2 questions all the time. The first one is how to add a pin, and the second one is how can I seal it or protect it to make sure that it doesn't get dirty or water damaged. Well, that's what we're talking about today. I'm going to share with you 4 ways that will help to protect your beautiful craft. Now, I'm sure some of you have other ways as well, but these are the 4 ways that I thought I would share with you. So let's flip to the overhead camera. Okay, right here I have 4 pieces of untreated 8.5 by 11 inch paper, and right here I have 4 pieces that have been treated with various types of coatings. So I'm going to share each one with you. You probably already know about these, but I thought that they would be pretty helpful. So let's start with this one. This one has a nice shiny coating on it, and what I've used is contact paper, clear contact paper. And I'm going to bring in my contact paper so that I can cut a piece and show you just how easy it is to apply. And yes, we will probably be wasting a little bit of this contact paper. Now this is contact paper that I've had for a while, and I believe I got this contact paper from Amazon. The Dollar Tree does have contact paper that you can purchase. I believe it's still $1.25. I'm going to go ahead and just peel away part of the backer. I'll see if I can save the part that I'm not going to need to use because I don't want to waste it. So this already has it on it. I'm going to take one piece of my 8.5 by 11 and I'm just going to place it down on the contact paper, smooth it out, and I'll take my finger blade and I am just going to cut out my piece. So you can see how nicely protected that is. So now I'm just going to put it in my trimmer and I'm going to trim away the excess. And here we have our 8.5 by 11 inch sheet that we can now use to make a notebook or a journal. Now this is pretty flexible and you're able to get a good bend on it. The Dollar Tree contact paper is a lot more flexible than this, and it just bends and folds like paper. This is a little bit sturdier, but as you can see, we can get in there and we're able to do our scores like this, and you can see that that is pretty flexible. So this is one alternative to be able to make your notebook and your journal. And this is actually flexible enough that it will fold over chipboard. But when you're folding it over chipboard, if you have any of the plastic meeting plastic, you'll definitely need to use tape because the glue will not stick to this. But look at how flexible this really is. So that's our first method, the contact paper method. And then method number 2 is one of my 2 favorite ways to cover my papers if I want to protect them. And the way that I do it is I'm using a clear acrylic sealer. It's a protector. You have to use this outdoors, so I'm not going to spray this, but basically what you do is you take your paper outdoors, and I normally hang a whole bunch of pieces of paper on a rope, and I use a clothespin to hold them up while I'm spraying them, but I just go across and I spray. Give it a good coating, and then I let it sit and I let it dry. I go back out again and I spray. Then I let it sit and dry. I go out and I check it to see if it has that coating on it, And if I need to add one more coat, I do the same thing. That is what I did on this one. This is a matte acrylic and it's transparent. So you can't really tell that it's on here, but it is. I can feel that protected coating on this paper. You can also do it on the back. Now, one thing that will happen when you spray the paper, I don't know if you can tell, but my paper has a curl or a bend to it. You can take this and just straighten it out on the edge of your desk. But I like doing this because it doesn't interfere at all with me trying to wrap this around chipboard. I'm going to be able to use this just like I would any other paper that I would want to wrap around chipboard if I was making a hardcover journal. So method number 2, use some type of clear acrylic sealer. Make sure that it is archival safe. There are so many of these brands on the market. I prefer to use a matte sealer when I'm doing this, but they have them in satin, they have them in gloss or semi-gloss, whichever one works for you. All right, y'all. All right, so the third way that I want to share is a very popular way, but it is my least favorite way of all of the ways that there are to protect our notebooks and journals because of how stiff it makes the paper. Now, it does give a nice protective coating, and it is a wonderful material to work with for other projects. It's just not my preferred way for the way that I like to make a notebook or journal. And what I'm talking about is lamination. Lamination is great because it's going to cover the front as well as the back of your paper. And that is a wonderful thing, but it's also a not so wonderful thing because it makes it very difficult to use this. And it also adds an edging to it. Now, you can cut as close to the paper as you want, but you do run the risk of possibly having some of that lamination peel away from the paper, and you definitely don't want that. So lamination is a way that I get asked about a lot, and I always respond that it's not my way of doing it, and I would not do it with my journals, but give it a try if you want to see if it'll work for you. Today I'm going to show you how easy it is to take a piece of 8.5 by 11 and laminate it. So I do have my laminator here, and the laminator that I have is the Royal Sovereign. I don't know much about this laminator. I've had it for about 5 years now, and it works very well. When I need to laminate, I go to it, and I do get a great lamination from it. I'm using a number 3 laminating sheet. I'm going to take the 8.5 by 11 inch piece. We put it in, and I'm going to push it all the way to the back, and then I'll smooth it out. Then I'll just take it and feed it through my laminator, trying to get it even on both sides so that when it pulls through, it's not going to pull through with bubbles or warps. So when you put it in, you just let the laminator do its thing. You don't push it through. You don't pull it out on this end. You just let it run through and completely cover your paper or protect whatever it is you're putting in. This is a thermal process, so it's heating this plastic and it's melting it into the paper. So it is almost done. And lamination sheets come in various sizes, so you can make this longer if you want. And there are even, I believe, 12 by 12 laminators out there that'll do your 12 by 12 inch sheets. Look at how well that laminated makes. All right, so now we have our laminated sheet, and you can see that you can bend and fold it, but it is not going to be foldable over chipboard. It's very rigid, but we can definitely take this and use it as a jacket for a notebook. I'm just cutting off some of that overhang. Now what I'm going to try to do, and this is something that I really have never done before, is I am going to see if I can trim off some of this edging without it pulling away. And it doesn't seem to be pulling away, but then I'm just going to go ahead and do it the whole way around. You probably know lamination tips and tricks a whole lot better than I do. So I am going to just score this. And score it here. And I am having to press down so that my score goes all the way through. And then I'm going to take this and just fold it. So you can see that it will make a nice jacket, and it's not pulling away from the edges yet. But if you're making this to protect a notebook that you want to make, let's say a traveler's notebook or something like that, you're going to want to leave that little bit of plastic around the edge, because you definitely don't want any water or anything to seep down in, which would be the case with this one. Water could damage this because I did remove all of that protective plastic along the edge. But you can see I have a nice jacket cover here. We can definitely make a really cute traveler's notebook. We can make a nice folio, and we can protect it with a laminating sheet. Let me turn this off. And then finally, I'm going to bring in this piece, and this piece to share with you my second favorite way of protecting my paper. Now, this is definitely curled because once it dries, you get that curl on it. And the way that this is protected, y'all, is protected using Mod Podge. And on this one, I used the satin finish. And I'm not sure if you can see that sheen on there. I think that you can. It gives it a nice satin sheen. And then I used a foam brush to go back and forth. And now I have what looks like a linen finish on this. But this is very flexible, and I can use it folded over chipboard and have it go over nicely. I'm going to show you just how easy it is. And all I'm going to do, y'all, this is going to be very, very easy, is I am just going to take my Mod Podge and put it on like that. And let's clean up these edges here and the top. I'm going to take just a little bit of my oil because I want to make sure that I don't have any sticking. And I'm putting oil there. And I'll put my lid back on, and now I don't have to worry about my lid sticking, and I'll be able to use all of the Mod Podge in that bottle. The oil that I'm using is this cheap oil from the Dollar Tree. You can use baby oil. You can use olive oil. You can basically use all types of different oil. You just want to put some on here so that it will act as a resist, and it will stop your lids from sticking. The same is true for your paint bottles. Use that oil on there to keep it from sticking. So I'm just going to take this, and I'm getting my brush nicely coated, and I'm just going to go along like this, making sure that I get my Mod Podge all over this, and then I'll just go this way, and then I'll go this way. And now when I pick it up, you can already see it starting to curl, and it's going to curl as it dries. I have a little heater next to me because I'm always cold, but I'm just going to take this and put it in front of my heater, and I'll be right back. All right, so this is nice and dry, and hopefully you can see that sheen on there. I don't know if you can see the crisscross of the brush strokes, but it does give it a nice linen look. So to recap, here are the 4 ways that I use to add a protective coating to my project piece. And depending on the coating that you use, the way that you're able to apply it to your project will differ. So with the laminating pouches, you do get this nice protected coating, but it's a lot more rigid than the other techniques that I demoed. So if you're using lamination sheets, just remember that you're a little bit restricted on how you can use this with chipboard. So that's lamination. We also used Mod Podge, and I used a satin finish, and it gives us this nice, beautiful look on our paper with the nice sheen, and it is very flexible. We can take this and we can definitely fold it over chipboard without any cracking taking place. So for me, Mod Podge is one of my top 2 ways to be able to add a protective coating to one of my projects. Then I use some clear contact paper to get this look, very similar to the look that you get with lamination sheets. A little bit more flexibility with this versus the laminating sheet. And we'll take this, and you can see that we are able to wrap this around our chipboard, but it is going to give you a very stiff fold to that book, but you can definitely do it. And then finally, my second favorite way of covering paper to protect it is using a clear acrylic sealer. This one is from Plaid, and it is a matte sealer, so I can spray it on as I've done here, and I can feel that coating on here. I can take this and we can fold over, and I can definitely fold this over chipboard and get the same performance that I would get if I hadn't put a treatment on it at all. So here are my top 2 ways of adding a protective coating to my paper when I want to use it on a project. But there are probably other ways out there as well that you can get that protected look. It all depends on what it is you want. But for those of you who have been asking, I hope that one of those 4 ways will work for you. These 2 ways always work for me. So I hope that you have enjoyed this fun, quick tip video. If you have, please hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, all day, every day, this is what we do, and this is how we do it. We're not just making finished projects. We're trying to get the best out of the whole project building process that we can, and I hope this has been helpful. And I would love to have you subscribe, so hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell so that you will know when I upload a new video. As always, my beautiful crafty friends, please be safe, be kind, and be the reason someone smiles today. Happy crafting, and we'll chat later. Bye.